for all my colleagues in the cost control department. First of all, I would like to thank the management for sending us in this very prestigious conference. So thank you very much for this one. And then we learned a lot for this. And then now we are going to share you whatever we have learned out of this 2-day seminar and or conference. We can call it. First, what is project risk management? I'm going to present to you in this presentation, we will learn what are the types of project risk management, how we are going to mitigate it, and how we are going to make an analysis of this risk management. Okay, this section of this presentation were adapted in the guide to the project management body of knowledge for division, and also some reports from the AACI. First, what is risk? Risk, in our layman's term of view, it's a possibility of loss or injury. In our daily life, we always meet risk. During the driving, there's a lot of risk. Even in our personal life, for example, getting married, we don't know what are the risks involved on this. Let's ask Rami, when you get married, do you think, last year, yeah, do you think that there is a risk involved on that?
Yes, of course.
Unknown. Yes, it means risks have two factors. It either be success or fail. Some people, there's a lot of people's success on their merits, and some are failed also. Our project same like that. When we go to the tender bidding like that, we don't know at the end of the project, are we going to gain or lose on that project? That's why we have to manage our risk. Project risks involve understanding on potential problems that might occur on the project, and they might impede on the project success. So now, it's better. In our level, it's better for us to know what are the different types of risk. How to manage the risk. Risk management. The process involved in identifying, analyzing, responding to risk. It includes maximizing the result of positive risk and minimizing the consequence of negative events. Risk management is like of insurance. It means we have to lessen the potential impact, negative impact on the project. Okay? But what are the risks involved on the different project? Can one of us identify one of the risks? Chaitanya, can you think anything project risk? One example.
Skilled labor.
Skilled labor. What about skilled labor?
Whenever we don't have the persons for the skilled activities, we will have a risk regarding the production of that.
Yeah, that's part of the risk. If your laborers are not sufficient enough, or there's no technology, they don't know how to use, that's part of the risk. Okay? By the way, we are going to show you why do we need to manage the risk. Project problems can be reduced as much as 90% by using risk analysis. Okay? There are positive and negatives. Positive, if we have more information, especially during tender time, the risk will be lessened. Improved probability of success, optimum project. Negative, if all we believe that risks are accounted for, later on we will see more risk. That's a risky part also. Project cut due to risk level. Key terms: risk tolerance, the amount of acceptable risk. Risk adverse, someone does not want to take the risk. Risk factor, probability of occurrence, range of possible outcome, expected timing of events, anticipated frequency of risk events from the source. Let's say, for example, in stock market, they have a saying, the higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower the return. But you have to know what are those risks. Okay? In project, usually we have 22 types of project risks. Number one, very important, executive support. If we doesn't have executive support, it means the higher management, our project will be at risk. Because if there's no support, for example, the owner, if the project manager have the problem together with the client, and then they are not supporting the project, that's the biggest risk of the project. Okay, but in Alhamdulillah, in ECC, we have full support. Even Mr. Karim, he is going to the site just to check one by one. Even micro level, he is checking one by one on that. But you know, we really appreciated that effort. Okay, sir?
He's thanking you or not?
No, not not micro level, but you know.
Both of them I'll accept.
Yeah.
Both of them I'll accept.
Okay. Scope. This is during the tender time, and even that's why the quantity of your estimates. If you have a problem on the quantities, the quantity of your estimates, dependencies and scope management, if the estimate is just a guess, it's really a big risk. Okay? That's why in cost control, how we mitigate it, we are asking the project team to remeasure the quantities before we are going to implement the project. That's part of our SOP. Change management. Continuous flow of complex change requests can escalate the complexity of the project that throws off your course. Change requests may lead to the perception that the project has failed because they continually add budget to time and to the project. However, if the change or variation is claimed, we are going to minimize the risk. It's okay, but we are going to send variation. There are 80% of it will be approved, but you know, that is part of the mitigation of risk. Change management. Stakeholder with negative attitudes towards project may intentionally throw up the roadblocks of every steps of the way. We have one project which is the client is very, you know, I will not say the project. Okay, I will say the Amesco. We have the okay. If the client, you know, really we have an experience of that client which is every time, every casting, he's taking videos and he's questioning every activities and every detail, meaning he doesn't have, he's not trusting, he's trusting at the beginning, but you know, at the end, there's some problems we are facing. So, stakeholder is really part of the risk. That's why during the tendering time, our management, we know that they are evaluating this client, MR or whatever clients like that. They are evaluating it about the financial status, everything. So to avoid or minimize the risk for that project. Resource team. The resource team, it is the, you know, if the resources or the team members, there's a lot of turnovers, and you know the person itself is not aware of what he's doing, he needs more learning curve, so that's part of the risk also. Design, of course, if the design is always changing, the feasibility and flexibility of architectural design is the key of the project success. If there's a lot of value engineering, if there's a lot of changes in design, the project may be at risk. Maybe during the tender time, they didn't consider a lot of things on the anticipation of the design change. Technical, the risk of components of your technology lab will be low quality. So if the technology, you know, not all that staff are aware of the technology, there are dozens of quality factors for technical components: stability, availability, scalability, usability, and security of the project. Integration. Whatever you are delivering needs to integrate with process, system, organization, culture, knowledge, and environment. Integration are common. It means let's say for example, we are here in ECC, we are implementing ERP. There's some example here during the 1999, the chocolate company Hales, their production is interrupted because of implementation of ERP implementation, meaning they didn't plan well on that, so it lost them 100 million in orders. So that's why if we are going to implement a new technology, we have to make more planning and better anticipation of the risk involved on that. Now we are going to implement a new system, e-project. Maybe we have to e-promise. So, and we have a lot of experiences, implementation of Oracle online. So I hope the risk now is lessened because we have a lot of experience and experienced guys just like Mr. Samuel for the implementation of this. Communication. Oh, that's very important also. Communication. If you and your project manager is not talking, CM is not talking, post control is not talking to the project team, that's a big risk also. Okay? I will not elaborate more on that because we know already that communication is one of the biggest risks if we're not able to communicate in our project team.
I'd like to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
I actually think that communication should be a course in school because 90% of people, when they're talking with each other, most people will sit there and say yes, 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 when actually they're not understanding, they're not listening because they're too embarrassed to say they don't understand. You are one human being, he is another human being, she is another human being. We all have different brains, we all have different ways of understanding. Mr. Khadr is the best of this. He will sit in a meeting with the clients and he'll ask him 7-8 times to re-explain something until he is sure that he understands. So if you walk out of a meeting and you don't understand what somebody else has said to you, you're failed. There's no such thing as feeling stupid. Ask 10 times if you don't understand, because it's better that you walk out of that meeting understanding than walking out of that meeting not understanding, or understanding a different thing, you go away and you do something completely different to what's asked for.
Exactly, yes.
Very, very, very important, especially in this country where English is not the first language. Everybody's communicating in a second language.
Exactly.
English is most people's second language here, so please be sure to understand what everybody is saying to you. And don't let anybody make you feel stupid. I'm telling you, Mr. Khadr himself, the most intelligent person I've ever met, he will ask someone 7-8 times so that he can walk out and understand what they said. Sorry,
okay, no problem. Thank you very much for that input. Okay, requirements. We have a saying, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever, especially now in our Oracle, whatever inputs you are going to get on that, we are going to get whatever we inputted on that. It means if you input garbage, you will get the wrong reports like that. So that's part of the risk, project risk also. Decision quality. Slow, low quality, or ambiguous decisions are common risks. For example, as a cost control, we see something in the project which needs decision from the project manager, but the project manager itself is very busy like that and saying, oh, like that, but at the end of the day, they are going to lose. So that's a risk. If he didn't act on that recommendation by the cost control, the project has a big risk on that. So that's why in cases like that, we have to, if the project manager is not acting on it, we have to tell to the higher management. That's part of the mitigation of risk. Feasibility. Risk identification is critical time to consider the feasibility of the project. Ask the team members of the team to do their own sanity check. List all the doubts about feasibility as risk. Procurement. This is very important also, risk of the project. Procurement process is rife with risk. For example, there is a risk that you won't find acceptable proposal to the RFE, request for proposal. I'll set some example. Now we are using ERP or Oracle. If there's some problem on that procurement process, the requisition, the approvals like that, our project is at risk because the project have the timeline or duration time or lead time to deliver that material or services. Quality. Quality and risk management are intertwined. It means interrelated to each other. You'll expect to have defects in your project. However, there is a risk that quality won't meet basic level. Quality is very important to the project. ECC is always saying we are in quality like that. However, there is a risk involved on that. Recently, we conducted a case study on Dubai Wharf. We found out that per square meter, approximately, at the beginning, they are having 12 dirham per square meter for the risk. But when we conducted more study, make case analysis like that, we lowered it down to 7 to 8 dirham. We are now telling them 8 dirham is your target for the snagging works. So, but that's part of the risk. But at the beginning, they have checked the entire quality of this like that. Maybe that 8 dirham will be lowered it down. So it's part of the risk also of the project. So I hope during tender time also later on and our budgeting, we are now adding the snagging part of the budget. Because every project, at the end of project, snagging is really required by the client. Authority. Project team often lacks of authority to complete project work. So we know about the authority of the project. Approvals and red tape. If you anticipate the red tape, example, the financial approval will slow down your project. Especially in government projects, there's a lot of under the table, and if you are going to practice it, it's part of the risk of the project. But Alhamdulillah, I think here in the UAE, it's haram. It's not practice, but it's part of the project risk. It's a practice also, especially in the construction industry. Some contractors are doing that red tape. But here I didn't. Organizational. So if there's an organizational change, restructuring, mergers like that, it's part of the risk. External forces such as law, regulation, and markets, it also a risk. Now, in 2018, there's a new tax law in the UAE. It's coming. So that's part of the risk. So it means if you are going to tender 2018 bids, the project management is anticipating this external factor also. Project management. If your organization asks you to streamline your project management methodology, draft processes, documentation, it's also a risk. Secondary risks are often overlooked aspects. Secondary risks are a result of risk mitigation and transfer. Let's say you transfer the risk to a vendor with a fixed price contract. The contract itself presented counterparty risk. You place a series of project execution risks with a series of procurement risks. So there's a risk also on this, especially in commercial procurement process, there's a lot of risk on that. User acceptance. There's always chance that the user will reject your product. You can build a product that matches requirements. So especially ERP like that, if the end users are very hesitant to use it, that's part of the risk also. Commercial. If you are building a commercial product or market, new product development, there's always a chance of product will be a commercial value. This should be documented as a project risk also. The terms and conditions of during the subcontract agreement, we have to review that one because if we are not keen enough to review that terms and conditions, maybe the project will be at risk later on. How do we manage now? We identify now what are the types of risks and how we are now going to manage this risk. We have 6 different types of management process, risk management process. Number 1, plan the risk management, identify risk, perform qualitative analysis risk, perform quantitative risk analysis, plan risk responses, monitor and control risk. One by one, I will just make some small slides for this, like that. This is how we are going to make a risk management plan, project scope statement, cost management. These are the plans that we have in the project, and then we have to make planning meetings like that, and then we have to make risk management plan. Okay. Then next, this is our risk management plan. Definitions like that. Stakeholder. Risk. If we have cost breakdown structure, there's also a risk breakdown structure. We have to put what are the project, who are the technical teams, we design like that, so that we can identify who are the risky part of the organizational chart. Identify risk. So also for the identifying risk, we have the tools and techniques. We have to document information gathering, checklist analysis, assumption analysis, diagram technique, SWOT analysis, expert judgments, and what we are going to register the risk. So in ECC, we are also practicing this risk monitoring. We have risk monitoring lab that every time that there is a risk involved in the project, and then we have identified that we really need this budget. We are monitoring it. I'll show it later on. So these are the information. This is the diagramming techniques, fishbone diagram. We know already that one. We have to list down all the factors that involves the project. At the end, we have to know what are the product delivered or what are the potential causes of the project. This one, perform qualitative analysis. We have to, on that risk register, we have to have identify the risk probability and impact to the project, risk categorization, and risk urgency. We have to know what are the highest or lowest level risks. There's here. We have to identify the probability scale of impact scale, and probability scale from extreme to negligible. Then likelihood, percentage wise, how much we are going to categorize the factors of that. And then we have to plot on the matrix. Is it likely or is it tolerable like that? So so that we have to identify what is the biggest risk of the project. Once we identify the biggest risk of the project, that's what we have to focus first. So prioritizing the biggest risk from biggest to lowest like that. So this is a risk register, but we have in ECC we have separate monitoring register for that. Perform quantitative risk analysis. This is more on the data gathering and presentation of the techniques based on the quantity. Let's say, for example, this is the building cost. Optimistic outcome, probability, how much is it? Is 20%. We have to put 30,000 risk. Likely outcome, so the project manager or the project management team shall identify the probability of this risk. Let's say, for example, in Mulberry, we have identified now there's one of the biggest risks here during the design process like that. So now we have gathering information, and then after gathering information, we call the stakeholder, we call the higher management, and then we explain to them. We call also the designer for that, and let them explain what it's happened. So that's part of the risk. And as a cost control, we identify how much is the impact of this design failure or design changes. This is the decision tree analysis. So let's say, for example, this part of the how we are going to analyze the risk or to identify what are the risky or not risky projects. Let's say, for example, we have project A and project B. You have to choose during tender time. We have two big project. Let's say 1 billion here, 1 billion project. Let's say this sample. 10 million here, and the project B is 90 million project. We have to know what are the success criteria of this project. The chance of this project, we have decision node. It's either A or B. Chance node. For project A, the success of this project is 50%. But the failure also, we have identified that 50% also. For plan B, strong demand, weak demand, or success failure also, 50-50 also. In this scenario, you will find out that success is 100% and you are going to have the net path value of 50. The formula of this is very simple. If you have to multiply the 100 billion times the 50%, the negative 30 to 50% is 15. You have to put what is the EMV or monetary value of the project A. The monetary value of project A is 35 million. The monetary value of the project B is 40 million. So now you have to come up with a decision. From 35 to 40, it means project B is more feasible on this scenario. So something like that. Okay? Risk responses. Strategies of negative risk or threats. Strategies of positive risk also. We have to respond after we identify, perform qualitative analysis like that. What are the plan or how the project responds on that risk? What are the actions they have given, they have acted on? We have outputs, registered already the risk-related decision, and project management updates. So strategies. For the negative risk, we need to avoid, we need to transfer, we need to mitigate, and accept that there is. Some people, that there's an existing risk but they are avoiding it. We have to accept it and act on it. Positive risk. Risk is not only negative, there's also positive on that. Exploit, share, enhance, and acceptance. Especially for us, if we have found out that this is the identified risk, we are making feedback to the estimation or the stakeholder so that in the next future projects, we will avoid this potential risk. And then, after we act on it, we have to monitor and control the risk. So, the last part of this risk plan, we have to control the risk and control and monitor the risk. So that is the end of my presentation, but I want to show you some videos.
How long?